Happy Living here. I love entrepreneurs and artists and authors and innovators and people from every walk of life that have discovered their reason for being on this planet. And that's why I love hosting the Something Significant show with Matt Gersper on WITV7 in Charlotte, North Carolina. Mr. Happy Living here, and I'm happy to be broadcasting from WITV7 in the beautiful Queen City, Charlotte, North Carolina. I love entrepreneurs and best-selling authors and inspirational speakers and health coach rock stars and people from every walk of life that have discovered their reason for being on this planet. And that's why I love Ben Azadi. He's all those things and the founder of Keto Camp, a global brand that uses technology to teach ancient healing strategies such as the ketogenic diet and intermittent fasting. Hey, Ben, welcome to the Something Significant show.
Matt, I am excited and grateful to be here with you today, so thank you for the invitation.
Awesome. And I should have asked before we got on the air, is that the correct pronunciation, Azadi?
You said it right. Good job.
Right on. All right, so why don't you tell us what you're doing these days to leave your mark of significance on the world?
Love that name, by the way. What I'm doing today, I'm the founder of Keto Camp, and we are on a mission to educate, to inspire 1 billion people. What we're doing is we're getting out content out there. We're taking the science of these ancient healing strategies, ketosis, intermittent fasting, that we have access to every single day. And what we're doing is we're taking that content, taking that information and putting it into content via our YouTube channel, podcasts, on all social media platforms, and books, so we could help others understand that what lies within them is more powerful than any surgery, any supplement, any pill. There's nothing that could replace what we all have within us, which is this innate intelligence. And as long as we could identify what is interfering with this innate intelligence and then remove the interference, the body will heal. So we have a top podcast, a fast-growing YouTube channel, and we are on this mission to just get this information out there in bite-sized nuggets so people could understand it, so they could apply it, and then they could also teach it to other people, their friends, their family, and their community.
I love it. It's kind of like what they say Michelangelo said, all I need to do is chip away at the rock that doesn't belong there, and then the statue emerges.
It's exactly what we're doing, brother. I love that analogy.
I like it. All right, so take us back in time. Tell us about that former obese man who experienced firsthand how frustrating and overwhelming it can be wanting to get better, to become healthier, and yet not knowing where to start. So tell us, when was that in your life? How stuck were you, and how bad were you feeling?
Yeah, so 12 years ago, back in 2008, I was a shell of myself. At that time, I weighed 250 pounds. I was obese, both physically and mentally obese. I had toxic thoughts, very high self-limiting beliefs. Yep.
How much do you weigh now? I don't the audience give a scale.
I'm 185 right now.
Okay, from 250 to 185. Okay,
yeah.
Sorry.
I actually went down to 170, and then now I'm at a healthy 185. Okay. So I was 250. I had hormone issues, energy issues, addicted to video games and a standard American diet, eating every 2 to 3 hours, looking for answers inside of my refrigerator. And I was lost in life. I was tiptoeing my way through life, just hoping to land safely on death's door. And it was really bad for me. It was bad to the point where I was not just depressed at that time. I was actually suicidal, not just with thoughts. I would actually pursue ending my life by going on the internet several times, looking for ways to do it. And I would just think about my mom every time I thought that and pursued that, and it would stop me. So it was a struggle. I was 23 years old, 24 years old, but I felt like I was over 100 years old. My health was in decline. I didn't have any goals or aspirations, and it was a big struggle in my life, and I was down there in rock bottom during that time.
So we're going to come back later and talk about how you climbed out of that rock bottom. But for now, let's look forward 10 years. And how do you hope to be impacting the world in 2030 and beyond?
So let's look forward in 10 years from right now, 2030 and beyond. We are going to have one of the top YouTube channels, and not just the keto and fasting space, but any YouTube channel on that platform. And we're going to have this tribe, a community of those who understand how to do keto the right way and fasting the right way, keto courses, certifications for people to take this information and apply it to their communities. We are going to have the top podcast in all of podcasts, not just in health and nutrition. And we are going to be a worldwide recognized brand that whether you're in Japan or Brazil or in the UK, you're going to say the words Keto Camp and people are going to know what it's about. And they're going to be really clear on how to do it the right way, because there are a lot of people who don't do keto the right way. So that's where I see this company, this brand in 10 years. We're going to have an amazing tribe that's going to continue growing. And we're going to reverse these trends we see out there with obesity, with cancer, with diabetes. We're going to see a decline instead of what we're seeing as an incline.
Right on. Okay, Ben. So I define significance as doing things you love, in places you love, with people you love, and creating something of value to others. So it's doing and it's giving. But to be a giver, you need excess capacity in your life. So the question is, what are your personal practices? Physical, mental, spiritual, financial, emotional? What is it you do to increase your capacity so you can take good care of yourself and still have more to give to others?
Love your definition, Matt. It's beautiful. So I personally protect the first 60 minutes of my day and the last 60 minutes of my day, my night. And I do so by not checking my phone as much as I want to and as much as I used to. I came across the conclusion, I understood that checking my phone first thing in the morning has the day run me instead of me running the day. It's like playing Russian roulette. I could check my phone and have amazing text and notifications and all these wonderful things, or I could check my phone and see a problem that I have to put out right away, and all of a sudden I'm scrambling and the day is owning me. So I don't do that anymore. I win the morning and then I own the day, and I do that by making sure I don't check my phone. And I go for a morning walk with my dog here in Miami Beach, Florida, every single morning. As I'm walking, I'm not listening to audio or anything like that. I'm actually doing affirmations. I'm saying words of encouragement to myself. I'm actually saying my goals in my head. So I go for a 20-minute walk with my dog as the sun comes up. So I'm getting that sunlight through my eyes on my skin. And then I come back home. Actually, I missed a point. I missed a step. Before I even walk my dog, I grab a pen and paper and I write down 10 things that I'm grateful for. And then I'll write down my goals. So I'll do gratitude and goals. I haven't missed a single day in writing my gratitude and goals in the morning and before bed in over 4 years. I have notebooks and notebooks like this, Matt, just filled with gratitude and goals. So I'll do that. Then I'll go walk my dog. I'll come back home here to my apartment, and then I will go ahead and I'll start making my morning cup of coffee. I usually wait about an hour and a half to have the coffee. I'll add a little bit of some healthy fats, some sea salt.
Now I heard your coffee delay. As I was doing research on you, why should I wait 90 minutes to have my first cup of coffee?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that.
Me, Ben.
Correct. So the reason I wait about an hour and a half is because we get much more bang for our buck in terms of energy from the coffee if we wait that hour and a half. Because when we wake up first thing in the morning, we activate cortisol. Cortisol is that hormone that gives us energy. It's been called the stress hormone. But cortisol is much more powerful than caffeine. So if we have our coffee first thing in the morning, if I woke up and just drank my cup of coffee, that caffeine will be pretty much rendered useless. So what happens is once you wait an hour and a half, cortisol begins to drop down. Then you can have your cup of coffee and you get much more energy from it that's more sustainable.
Gotcha. So it's an energy booster more than a health thing.
Yeah, well, it's both, because we don't want to raise glucose and take caffeine in while our cortisol is high. So it's not healthy to do that. So as the cortisol drops down, it's healthier for us, but I don't do it primarily for that. I do it primarily because the way it makes me feel. I get much more bang for my buck when I wait an hour and a half. So I'll make a cup of coffee for myself, for my girlfriend, Natasha, who lives with me. And then that's about an hour and a half in. As the coffee is brewing in the French press, I grab a book and I read for 10 minutes and then finish the coffee and then go into my office and I start my day. So that's my morning routine. And at night, I do my goals, my gratitude. I make sure there's not a lot of stimulation. I have my blue light blocking glasses, and I make sure I have a sleep sanctuary so I can get a good night of sleep. So that's how I am able to protect my day and really manifest the day that I want.
A lot of great capacity building practices.
Thank you.
Awesome, Ben. So let's take a commercial break so I can tell everyone about three things. A super amazing health device called Zona Plus, how to get a $50 discount at Happy Living, and how their purchase will support a great big donation to WITV7 and another nonprofit I love called Life Vest Inside. Mr. Happy Living here. I love good things made by good people. That's why I love Zona Plus, the world's first software-controlled handheld device that improves cardiovascular health using isometric exercise. You're going to love yours too. I use mine almost every day to keep my blood pressure right where it should be. It also helps maintain healthy blood and oxygen flow and bone density. And it increases the production of nitric oxide, which also increases blood flow and lowers blood pressure. All good stuff. But what really surprised me is this little device has been adding muscle to my biceps too. I walk around all day long feeling pumped. Check them out at happyliving.com and select Partners in Happy for $50 off. Plus, for every order placed in the month of January, I'll donate $50 to WITV7 and another $50 to Life Vest Inside. Okay, we're back, and this is the Something Significant show, and I'm Matt Gersper. Hey, friends, do yourself a great big health favor and buy a Zona Plus right after the show. It'll take just a minute and improve your health for a lifetime. I love mine and use it every day. I know you'll love yours too. I also love talking with my health and wellness rock star guest, Ben Azadi. He's on a mission to help 1 billion people all around the world to live a healthier lifestyle with his coaching programs, inspiring speeches, and best-selling books, The Perfect Health Booklet, The Intermittent Fasting Cheat Sheet, and The Power of Sleep. So Ben, in my second book, Turning Inspiration into Action, I explore the idea that big transformations and discovery of purpose often come from devastation. A terrible illness, a sudden death, some big crisis shakes your life. But I've used a happier way and created transformations in my life with inspiration. So take us back to those days of obesity, to the moment you decided to make a major change in your health and your life. What was the catalyst for that decision? Was it devastation or inspiration, or was it something else?
Yeah, I love that you use inspiration and not motivation. I believe there's a difference between the two. So kudos to you for using that and using it so well, Matt. For me, it was the devastation at first, right? It was being rock bottom, looking for ways to kill myself, lost in life, working at a job that was not inspiring, not healthy, both physically and mentally. I knew that I wasn't going to end my life because I didn't want to do that to my mom. So what happened was a couple of my friends, they're married now, Ronald and Carla, they gave me a book called The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson, which talked about, your decisions that you make every single day, these little decisions and habits that we do every single day, good or bad, compound over time, and they really manifest into our future. They turn into our future. So it really helped me understand, okay, if I could just start making a little change, little tweaks right here, it could lead to some giant peaks. So I started to exercise. I started to eat healthier. And I started to actually become obsessed with books. And I was inspired by these books and authors like Wayne Dyer and Bob Proctor, Lisa Nichols. I see you nodding your head because I know that you read these individuals as well. And they inspired me, Matt. They inspired me to help me and understand, first of all, that I am responsible. I took ownership for the first time in my life and actually said those words, I am responsible. Up until that point, I was blaming everybody for my problems. I was blaming my enabling family members for giving me the food. I was blaming, the economy or whatever it was. But the person that was responsible was only one person. That person was me. So at that moment, reading those books, it inspired me to understand that I am now going to be the victor of my future. And I am no longer going to be the victim of my past. So I just started to develop these healthier habits, exercise, eating healthy, reading, 9 months from then, that moment, I went from that 250 pounds down to 170, 34% body fat down to 6% body fat. So I finally carved out a physical six pack, but the most important thing that I achieved during that transformation was this mental six pack. And that's what started my journey here in the health space.
So it wasn't really devastation. You were devastated, but you didn't have a heart attack. You didn't almost go out and you were scared to death and responded. You actually responded to inspiration. You listened when your friends offered you a book. That was the first thing you did. That was great. And then you read the book. So try to get us in there. What you might have read stuff before. You might have had friends recommend stuff before. What was different at that time?
Yeah, at that time, I hadn't read any books other than, in school, being forced to read certain books. And you're right, I had been offered certain books to read. And I'm like, yeah, I'll read it. I'll get to it. But I never got to it. At that time, the reason I chose to read it, the reason that I decided to read that book was, number one, these two friends of mine, I knew they had my best interest. They loved me. They saw how hurt I was and desperate in that moment that I was. And I was just exploring anything at that point that could help me get out of that space of rock bottom. So I decided to pick up the book, start reading, one page after one page. And then that inspiration just developed into this momentum.
I love it. And you talk about, tell me the name of the book again.
The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson.
And tiny things add up over time to yield big results. That's the definition of one of my favorite words, Kaizen. It's a Japanese term, and that's exactly what it means. Small incremental steps add up over time to yield big results. And we get into trouble in our life, usually that way, by bad decisions after bad decisions, and life gets bad. And we expect to come out of it immediately, and it takes time in just the same way as you discovered.
Oh, so true. Yeah. So when it's the negative outcome, it's these accumulated disasters, right? These hits. Then all of a sudden we experience the devastation that you were referring to. So it could go on either direction. You could build these small habits and compound into something magnificent, or it could be into something devastating. And it's really our choice. So well said, Matt.
Very good. Okay. So we've talked about capacity and purpose. And when you combine those two, the sky's the limit. Or as I like to say, capacity plus purpose equals happy. I call it the happy formula. But I know the real magic of life comes from the fourth element of significance. So Ben, tell us, how has doing work that creates value to others brought joy and magic into your life? In other words, how does it feel when you help others learn how to change their life by changing their health habits through your coaching or talks or books or videos? What kind of joy does creating value to others bring to you?
Yeah, well, my highest values are studying, first getting that information, applying it on myself, and then teaching it to others so that they understand it, they apply it. So it's my highest value. So what it does for me, it gives me longevity. It gives me energy. It gives me inspiration on a daily basis. So I am aligned with those highest values when I'm doing that, when I'm creating the content, doing interviews like this, and collaborating with individuals like yourself. It's that living on purpose with my purpose that gives me that energy. I get asked all the time, Ben, how are you so consistent? Like, how do you get out all this content? How are you showing up all the time? Well, number one, I do focus on my health. I do keto, I do fasting. But number two, all of my actions, or I should say most of my actions every single day, are aligned with what's important to me, my highest values. So that's giving me longevity and energy and a fire that will not go out until the day I am no longer here on planet Earth.
My speech on the happy formula. Talk about the difference. What I learned as I was evolving this thought concept, the things that you do to take care of your health, eating right, exercising, those types of things, sleeping properly, those create finite energy that once you use them up, you need to replenish them. Finance is the same way, right? If you have a good bank account, you can do good things, but as you spend that money, you need to replace it. But when you're living in your purpose, when you're doing what inspires you in spirit, that creates an infinite energy. So give us a little bit of your point of view on the difference between finite earthly energies and spiritual infinite energy.
Yeah, I love how you broke that down. So the difference is this: a lot of people are living a life not according to their highest values, but it's what other people in their life has projected onto them. And there's the great book out there, The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying, by an author named Bonnie Ware. And she was a hospice nurse, and she did a survey on these dying patients in the hospice, hundreds of interviews. And she wanted to do a survey on the top regrets of these dying individuals. And the number one regret was not living a life true to themselves and true to their highest values, but instead living a life of what others expected of them. Yeah. And when we are living a life of what others are expecting of us, maybe it is this career that your parents wanted you to do, but you don't really feel lit up about. Maybe it's a certain nutrition plan, whatever it is. When you reach an obstacle and you're not living a life on purpose with your purpose, that obstacle is going to take you out. You're going to reach failure after failure. You're going to be much more likely to quit. On the opposite, when you are living a life on purpose with your purpose and it's aligned with your highest values, those obstacles are no longer obstacles, they're opportunities to learn and to grow. And then failure is not even in existence, because you only fail when you quit. And when you are aligned with your values and you're living a life on purpose with those alignments, you're not going to quit and you're never going to fail. So that right there is my definition of the difference between those two.
I love it. The first book I wrote, I called The Belief Roadmap. And it's all about this concept. It's if you don't define your own philosophies of life, then you're going to live somebody else's philosophies. And the roadmap is going to be theirs and not yours.
So true.
Same words, different way of getting there.
Yeah, so true, brother.
Awesome. Okay, let's wrap things up with a lightning round. I love this part of the interview. We get to peer into your brain a little bit more. So I want to read one of my very favorite quotes, and then you respond by telling the audience what it means to you. Okay. Try to spend no more than 30 or 45 seconds so we can get through a few of them. Okay. So the first is from Shunryu Suzuki. You are perfect just as you are, and you could use a little improvement.
I love that quote. That's I've never heard that. So what that means to me is a healthy dissatisfaction with life. Because you accept yourself and you love yourself, which is one of the pillars for health. You got to love yourself and then love others, but also you're not resting on your laurels. You're still growing and expanding, and you're achieving that potential that you have been put on planet Earth. So that's what it means to me. You accept and love yourself, but you're not resting on your laurels. You have a healthy dissatisfaction with your results in life.
Beautiful. I don't know who the author is. This comes from a past memory, but I love it. Once you get where you want to be, you're not there anymore.
Once you get to where you want to be, you're not there anymore. That's actually related to the previous one where, you hit a goal and then, okay, let's hit a new goal. Let's set a new goal and then keep striving because we know nothing in nature, nothing in the world is still. Everything is moving. So either you are growing and expanding or you are disintegrating. So creating or disintegrating. So that's what it means to me. We know that, okay, you arrived somewhere, you hit that goal. What's next? Celebrate the goal, but then let's focus on what's next.
Right on. This is from Dr. Steve Marabali. The universe doesn't give what you ask for with your thoughts. It gives what you demand with your actions.
Yeah, action takers rule the world. Not intention takers. You could have the best intention in the world. I want to do keto. I want to do fasting, but you don't put up the structure. You don't put the structure in there, and then you don't take the right actions, and you're going to end up failing essentially. So it's the action takers. One of the words that I always have a red flag, like the members of my Keto Camp Academy, whenever I hear them say it, I always catch them, and I sometimes catch myself. And that word is try. There is no try. Either you do it or you don't do it. Trying is failure with honor. Trying is intention, but doing is action. So that's the difference there. Let's be action takers, not intention takers.
Love it. This is one of my own. It's in the doing of things that are most important to you that you will find true happiness.
Yeah, I agree with that. Because I find myself experiencing happiness when I am doing things, when I am producing videos, helping other people. It's that action. When I find myself with a blank space on my calendar, personally, I'm not as happy. Blank space on the calendar for me is the devil's playground. I like to fill my calendar up with high value activities. And it's that doing and on the way of accomplishing that I experience happiness.
Great. All right. Last one. This is from Goth. I've actually heard it's pronounced Guter, but I'm just going to keep calling it Goth because I don't think people know what Guter means in German.
Goth is easier.
Yeah, Goth. So whatever you can do or dream you can do, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Begin it now.
That's a great quote. Yeah. If you think you can, you can. So I know we were put on this earth and we all have amazing potential. Every single human being has amazing potential. And if we could just close the gap between our potential that we've been put on planet Earth for and where we are now, as long as we're closing that gap, we're going to find ourselves feeling successful and feeling happy.
Yeah, that's beautiful, my friend. Okay, Ben, this has been a very inspiring talk. I just love it. But now our time's coming to an end. So kindly take a minute or two and share any parting remarks that you'd like to leave with our audience.
Yeah, Matt, thank you for this interview. It's been terrific. You're doing amazing work for the community and for the world. So thank you. So closing words would be that we don't get what we want in life necessarily. We get what we are, and what we are our thoughts. It first starts with thoughts before actions, right? We just spoke about actions, but first we need to have those thoughts, and our thoughts determine our future. Wayne Dyer said it best. He said, if you could change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And our greatest power is the power to change our thoughts. And we think on average as human beings, 60,000 thoughts per day. And most of those thoughts are the same thoughts from the day before. About 90% of those thoughts are the same thoughts from the day before, which are typically negative thoughts that are learned behaviors, this paradigm that we have created and accepted as reality. Well, we could change those thoughts. So whenever we find a negative thought, whether it is, I'm not good enough, I'm never going to be able to do this, nutrition program, I'm never going to be able to finish this last rep, whatever negative thought that comes by, if we could get really aware at that thought, like a cloud, this is how Wayne Dyer taught it, as a cloud, let it pass and then choose a better thought. Choose a cloud, a thought that's going to serve your future. And the better we get at that, the better we're going to see opportunities, and the universe will conspire to help us get the things we want in life. And the last thing I'll share is that it's very tricky because these thoughts are throughout the entire day. I mentioned my morning routine. I'm walking my dog. I'm using very intentional thoughts to start my day because the subconscious mind is very impressionable right when you wake up and right before bed. But it's also those thoughts when you're washing your hands, when you're washing dishes, when you're walking your dog, brushing your teeth. What are you thinking during all of your activities throughout the day? Because those thoughts will become your future. And if we could get really good at thinking better thoughts and having the awareness of negative thoughts and stopping them, we're going to change our life for the better.
Love it. I've been reading Dr. Dyer's book, Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life, every day for the last 10 years.
Oh, that's amazing. That's quite the discipline. I acknowledge you for that. And I love that. I'm inspired by that.
Awesome. Okay, now folks, it's your turn. If you can hear my voice and you are inspired by today's show with Ben Azadi, please donate what you can to WITV7. They're a 501c3 charity on a mission to educate, empower, and encourage. They do good works with your kindness. Ben, I admire the niche you carved out, becoming the go-to source for intermittent fasting and the ketogenic diet, and becoming known as the health detective because you investigate dysfunction and educate, not medicate, your clients to bring their bodies and their health back to normal function. Keep swinging, my friend. One day you're going to post that McDonald's sign, 1 billion served.
Love that. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you so much.
And thank you, WITV7, for hosting and promoting our show so we can keep reaching ordinary people ready to create extraordinary lives. A special thank you to our sponsors for the entire month of January, Zona Plus and Happy Living. Remember, I'll donate $50 to WITV7 and another $50 to Life Vest Inside for every order placed during the entire month. So tell your friends to buy a Zona Plus too. It's good for their health. And this month, it's also a charitable thing to do. And most especially, thank you, viewers and listeners. You'll find links to websites and social media and all things Ben Azadi. Find him, friend him, buy his books, check out his online health coaching program at ketocampacademy.com. From me to you, dear friends, I love you and I want you to be happy. All we do on the Something Significant show is to inspire you to live your life to its fullest, to believe as I do that a better self is always possible, today and every day for the rest of our lives. It's time for you to be bold. If you're dreaming about it, then get on with it. For it's there on your special path, the one to your dream, your unique and distinctive journey. That's where you'll discover the way to make your mark of significance on the world. Till next time, I'm Matt Gersper. You are awesome, and this is the Something Significant show. And we're out.